What is going on, guys? Houndish here, and today we had the final Bungie livestream reveal regarding the April update, and this one was all about PvP and sandbox changes to Destiny that will be coming on April the 12th. So we got some pretty cool information regarding revive changes, ammo changes, rewards, and Warlocks, as well as some weapon balance stuff, which I will talk about in a separate video. So to break down everything that was discussed, I will break down all of the Warlock changes that we know of at the end of this video. But firstly, I'm going to talk about the other stuff that we learned. So revives are being changed in PvP. So there's going to be a smaller revive radius, so essentially you'll have to be closer to whoever you're reviving in order to revive them. This actually results in us not kind of being able to sprint revive someone even with quick res anymore. So they're kind of making revives and things like that something you have to be a little bit more tactical and careful about when you're kind of making that decision, which sounds kind of okay to me. It definitely will switch up rounds a little bit. It'll be harder to get, for your enemy team to get a res on someone you've got down, which, sometimes can be a little bit of an issue, and it can be kind of go around in circles thing inside of those modes. So that definitely sounds pretty cool to me. Overshields are going to be less powerful when rezzing or being rezzed inside of these modes as well. So that's going to kind of play a little bit of a part too. And an additional 2 seconds has been added to the revive timer in Trials of Osiris. So 7 seconds instead of 5 when you die for the first time in a round, and when you die for the second time, that will be up to 14 seconds. We will get the patch notes, the exact patch notes for all of this stuff on April 12th. But now to talk about ammo changes, specifically special ammo first. So special ammo, the change to 3v3 modes and ammo not spawning has been reversed inside of all PvP modes essentially. So you will spawn with special ammo now, but switching will kind of lose your special, the special that you've kind of accumulated. So, if you do kind of run out of special and decide to use an icebreaker or anything like that inside of these modes, you won't be able to switch and get more special. And this is particularly important because the first special ammo spawn will be kind of 3 minutes into a match inside of normal PvP. So they're kind of just reducing how kind of much of a crutch or how often you'll be able to use special ammo, and it's pretty interesting the way they've done it by putting it back into the start of the game, but the next round of ammo kind of spawning in later. And there've also been some kind of reserve ammo changes that I'll talk about when I'm talking about the weapons specifically. But there's also been some heavy ammo changes as well. So heavy ammo will now spawn only once in kind of free-flowing games. So inside of Elimination and Trials, you'll still get it on round 3, and inside of Mayhem, it will still spawn at the same rate, obviously, because it's Mayhem. But every other mode will only have heavy ammo one time in a game, and that will be at the 5-minute mark of the game. So there's going to be a hell of a lot less special ammo and a lot less kills kind of made with rockets and LMGs and things like that. And there's also links to some kind of changes that we're going to see to Quillam's Terminus. Like I said, I'll talk about that specifically in a weapon video. We also learned of some changes to rewards inside of PvP, so there's going to be increased legendary drops in PvP overall. Weekly PvP bounties will be able to drop up to 335 light gear, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, the weekly Crucible activity will gain you a sterling treasure inside of the April update. And then to talk about Trials, the Lighthouse can drop armor from the chest as well as weapons, and these all go up to 335 light, and the gear that you get from the bounties in Trials will drop up to 330 light if you're lucky. There's also been increased Iron Banner loot drops, so rank 5 as well as endgame loot drops, which kind of drop at the end of matches, are actually going to be replacing those legendary engrams you get with other Iron Banner loot. So you'll generally see more Iron Banner loot at the end of Iron Banner games, which is definitely welcomed. And the rank 5 package will drop an automatic 320 Ghost and Artifact, so we won't be getting the blue 310 anymore, we'll be getting a 320, which is pretty cool. They also improved some Iron Banner bounties, so the bounty in particular where you had to earn 2,500 points, which is a nightmare, potentially in a game mode like Clash, has been changed to 1,500 points and a win, I do believe. So that's definitely a welcome change in the Iron Banner bounties. So now we're going to hear about some of the changes that we'll be seeing to Warlocks. They didn't mention changes to any other classes apart from Warlocks, so for the moment it sounds like Warlocks are the only thing being tweaked inside of the Crucible. To start out with Sunsingers, they reduced the strength of Flame Shield, so Flame Shield would essentially have kind of less health points in it now, so you'll be killed easier while you've got Flame Shield up. And they've also reduced the cooldown of Flame Shield, so you won't be able to get it as regularly, and the fireborn timer when you're in self-res essentially and you're throwing grenades has been reduced, so you won't be inside of that super for as long. But if you opt to use something else like Radiant Skin, you'll actually have a couple of more grenades inside of that super than you do when you're on fireborn, so that's pretty kind of interesting and promotes people using other stuff inside of the class. Notably, there's been no changes to Viking Funeral, so we're still going to be getting that same kind of firebolt effect. What they did say is that it would be kind of a complicated thing. It would need some serious rebalancing across the class to get that right and to kind of legitimize other things within the class and everything like that, which I do understand is kind of a complicated balance. So for now, no changes to Viking Funeral. Moving on to the Stormcallers, Landfall is going to be far less effective, so kind of less spread, I assume, a little bit less damage, and will no longer destroy things like Titan Bubbles, so that's pretty interesting. And there'll also be some other kind of minor changes to Stormcallers overall. They're going to reduce the Storm Trank's length as well, so you won't be in a super for as long. And yeah, generally just make some minor changes. And then Void Walkers will kind of have few little changes. Kind of they'll buff the effectiveness of things like lifesteal and the integration of other bonuses with things like lifesteal, so just to generally buff the class a little bit. They said it will be kind of more responsive in the melee, and the trigger of effects like lifesteal will be much quicker. So they're just generally trying to buff the Void Walker and promote its use a little bit. But these were kind of how they skimmed over all of the changes. There will be full patch notes for all of this stuff, where they'll break down exactly, you know, all the numbers and all of the specific changes. But this is what they told us inside of the live stream. So that's pretty interesting overall. I'm pretty happy with, you know, what we've heard here. The special ammo changes definitely sound promising. The kind of revive changes could be pretty interesting as well, and obviously rewards are always awesome. And the changes to Warlocks seem, you know, pretty kind of tempered, so they're not doing anything kind of too irrational, which is definitely good. But we are going to see some changes to some of those things that are kind of strictly a little bit overpowered inside of the Crucible, so that's definitely good, and it kind of definitely widens the scope for future changes and kind of puts the Warlock back into perspective after the April update. So anyway guys, that is what we've learned about kind of PvP changes overall and the changes to Warlocks. We also heard about some weapon changes and exotic changes, which I will break down in another video, and when the patch notes are specifically up for all of this stuff, I will link that to this video as well, as we kind of get all of the specific numbers and facts. So let me know down below what you think of these changes, guys. I'm pretty excited for it. I think most of it sounds pretty reasonable. So if you have enjoyed the video, drop me that like and comment, and if you're new to the channel, you want to see a lot more Destiny content, then feel free to hit that subscribe button for a lot more. But for now, you guys take it easy. I'll catch you very soon.